Hey guys, Kyle with Dirt Bike Channel here. Wanted to talk to you guys about having more power. More power on our dirt bikes, that's what everybody wants. We want, you know, a 450 or we want a 500 or we want a 300. We want these big bikes with all this power on tap for, you know, some reserve event that we might need or some, you know, presumed hill climb that we might have. And the more I ride, the more I think we probably don't need more power. The bike up in front of me right here is a YZ125, and this is being piloted by a very, very talented rider, much more talented than I am. He's ridden dirt bikes probably 3 or 4 times as long as I have, and he's actually just chastening his son, his 14-year-old son, up ahead, who's pretty much out of the screen. You can't really see on a KX100. And I chased these guys around for a number of hours one day back here in November when we were riding, and they are fast. In fact, Jason up here on the 125 can smoke me, eat me for breakfast on that 125, and I'm riding a 2017 KTM 300 two-stroke. And you know, the interesting thing about the KTM is that it makes a lot of things easier, that 300, because it's got all that low tractorability power, and so it kind of allows you to get lazy in a lot of places, whereas on a smaller bore bike, yeah, you can do them just as fast, but it might take a little bit more effort on your part. And but you know, that's kind of the fun. I'll be quiet here so we can see if there's a little bit of a two-stroke sound coming up this hill here. I guess my point is that most of us don't need more power. I certainly don't need more power. This 300XC has more power than I will ever be able to tap into. And sometimes that power can kind of get you in trouble. A lot of times when you're in tight woods and things like that, you can't be more than, you know, quarter throttle, half throttle at any time. And then every time you punch it out of a corner, you're trying to, you know, maintain traction because you've got so much power on tap. Whereas if you have a smaller displacement dirt bike without quite so much power, sometimes you can be faster because it just allows you, you know, to be a little bit more liberal with that throttle, and you're not just pulling the wheel off the ground, and you're not breaking traction. I remember there was one day I was out riding, it was last year when I was testing the KTM 250 XCF. I was out riding with a couple of friends, and one of them made a point or a comment and they said, "Man, you are just flying on that 250. You're just as fast on that bike as any bike I've ever seen you on." And I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, because I am confident to be able to come out of a corner and then just give a fistful of throttle because I know I'm not going to get, you know, pistol whipped by that motor. And as I've thought about this and as I've ridden these smaller displacement dirt bikes and seen some of my friends come out here and whip my trash on smaller displacement bikes, I'm like, you know, what we don't need more power. What we need is more skill sometimes. This bike that I'm riding, obviously, I've said, was is the 2017 KTM 300XC, and it's an amazing bike. It's probably the most well-rounded dirt bike that I've ever been on, at least for the type of riding that I do. But riding the YZ250X last year just reminded me how much I love a 252 stroke, and so I decided to go out there and get a KTM 250XC to pit directly against this bike that I'm on, and it'll be interesting to see and ride them back to back and see which bike I like better. And I honestly, at this stage of my riding, I might end up liking the 250 better, because sometimes the 250s both the 4 strokes and the 2 strokes end up feeling a little bit more playful than their, the bigger displacement bikes. And so I'm interested to test that out. Probably the next KTM, and it's going to be down the road because I've got a bunch of other bikes kind of planned to do reviews, Yurkos and betas and things. But the next KTM that I'm interested in is actually going all the way on the light spectrum. Drop down to 150 SX is the bike that I'd like to try for this type of riding and mountain riding and woods riding, and just see how much I can get out of that 150 SX. It'll be so light, it'll feel like a mountain bike, and I want to try that and ride it back to back with some of these bigger bikes and really get a feel for it. I've said this so many times on the channel, but when I have ridden bikes back to back, you ride this bike and then boom, switch over and get on another bike and then do that back and forth, you learn so much. And I'm really looking forward to doing that with a 125 or a 150 and then get back on like a 252 stroke. But I'm really liking the smaller displacement bikes. Last year I had a 450, a 350, and 2 250s. I'm speaking of 4 strokes, all of them. And on those bikes, my favorite of the 4 4-strokes that I tested was a 250. And I mean, the 350 is great. The 450, not my favorite. But far and away, my favorite bike was the smallest displacement one. It was the KTM 250 XCF. And then after that, I probably like the KTM 350 XCF. And then in kind of third place, I was under the Yamaha YZ450 FX. And then my last place bike, as far as the ones that I enjoyed to ride, was the Yamaha YZ450F. So, man, smaller displacement bikes. And look, here goes Jason just blasting right by me like an angry bee on that 125, just on fire. And he did that multiple times throughout the day, just blowing by me. And it's about the rider. It's not about the displacement, guys. Hey guys, if you didn't already know, Patreon is the best way to support Dirt Bike Channel. We've got some really cool rewards over there, so click on the link up here that you see to become a patron. That'll take you directly to our site, and you can check everything out. You can donate as little as $1 per month, and it would really help us out. Thanks a ton, guys.